Hey guys, Pincushion here. So, you have to forgive my attire. I just got done with doing some yard work. Honestly, really nice to be able to get out, do some yard work, and just kind of let the world go for a bit. I don't know. It's one of the ways I kind of escape reality, I guess you could say, is just kind of get involved with doing that. Anyways, not the point of this. Point is, this is the fourth fucking try of doing this. So, and I also got kind of done with speaking to Doppler and Frosty about everything again. This is going to be kind of a more involved channel update, I believe. I know we've had some in the past, and they've mentioned various things about how we're going to redo the upload schedule, redo this, redo that. Well, life obviously occurs, and we're no exception to that reality. What it's going to be basically going over is, if you want the short version, this is going to be the TLDR. We're basically trying to find a reasonable balance between life, work, leisure, and doing this. And we've got some ideas in mind, and we're going to be, Doppler's going to be offsetting some of the workload for me as far as editing is concerned. And we are going to be uploading more, so basically 7 days a week. And that's because we have an upload schedule that was previously going out to like a month and a half, and I wasn't liking that where it was going, and we were all kind of, Doppler and I were getting like, stuff's piling up because the way the industry is and how things go. Viewer requests, which we love, but let's face it, we're getting more and more and more, and as much as we love it, there comes the reality of doing it is like, it takes time. So there's that, and then the other segment of around the world that we do that we enjoy doing. Again, that all takes time, and so trying to find that balance can be a little tricky. So basically, to go a bit more in depth on this, I spoke with Doppler because I had a consideration to be able to make this a little bit smoother. That being that instead of 5 uploads a week, we were to do 7 just because of how long our upload schedule was. Hell, it was going like a month and a half. Our backlog is even longer. And so just to get through everything, we kind of all unanimously decided that it was best to do this. And so for like at least, probably it's going to be at least 3 weeks, we're going to be having Saturday and Sunday uploads, which might be cool for you guys, but don't expect it to be the norm. This is a temporary measure to try and kind of come back to being on par with having maybe stuff scheduled out maybe a week or two in advance, trying to get to that point. Doppler is very soon going to be helping me edit these videos, which it may not seem like we're doing a lot, but every weekend in one day we typically do 4 to 5 videos per, like Friday or Saturday. It tends to be on Saturday that we tend to just knock out 4 or 5 videos. I go ahead and get them edited afterwards, or try to, and then, or along the week, and then we just send them out as we can into a calendar I have set up so that all of us can look at it, kind of make decisions based on what we feel like would be the best maneuver. But yeah, we're trying to figure out and kind of work out a scenario that work best for us and what we do here, because we do enjoy what we do, but we've been doing this for about 2 years, and we only took one hiatus according to Doppler, we took one hiatus that lasted roughly 8 to 9 months. And that was just because, if I'm not mistaken, primarily me, just because I had ordeals of moving and then settling in. And then in the midst of that, there was job transition. And so, like, it was still the same career path, but it was job transition, and all that at once was just an absolute clusterfuck on me. So Doppler was there just kind of being like, do what you need to do, and whenever you're ready, I'll be here, which he's been great in that regard. Frosty too. Even though Frosty did join later, but still. One thing that Doppler mentioned, which Doppler and my wife both are really good at being able to help me see things from an outsider perspective, or a more logical perspective of, okay, so you're bogged down in this aspect. Here's what we could do, and we're just going to write this out for you, so whenever you get time to mentally be able to figure things out, or can dedicate a tiny amount of time to figuring this out, here's what we have in mind, see if that works for you, which they've reasonably been on point with how things are. So we were first going to try with Doppler and myself doing the editing. We're going to try and split that in half and see how that goes. And if need be, we're going to also further go down to cutting down the amount of videos that we do to roughly about 2 or 3 a week, like we did whenever we first started this, and kind of see how that goes. And if that's still a lot, because to be frank, I'll be slightly transparent, I have a lot going on in my personal life right now that has been very much weighing down on me, and I've been using this along with other, like, cooking and house chores to kind of take my mind off things. But I've had a lot that has been weighing down on me, and Doppler told me that it sounds like you need a mental break or mental health break. And I'm like, fuck. Not that I have anything against the idea of taking a break from mental health, but I've always had the perception of, just push this aside for just a bit, do what you like, and just take things slowly. That becomes way harder to do whenever taking those other aspects slowly begin to pile up and pile up and pile up and pile up, to the point to where after you push them away and then all of a sudden you get back to reality and it hits you like a shit ton of bricks, you're just like, what do I do? So as much as I love doing this, I am reaching a breaking point, I believe, in my personal life. And so, and by personal life, I don't mean just like the personal things I have going on. I mean also work as well, because Doppler and I, and occasionally more so me, are pushing way past 50 hours a week. Sometimes upwards of 60. And so being able to have a weekend to do stuff, because neither of us have 3 days off anymore like we used to at one of our employers. And even on the road, it was easier to do this, but now we don't have that ability. And so every fucking half hour to hour of our weekend is precious to us. So as much as we do love doing this, it's not something we want to spend 4 fucking hours doing. And to kind of give you a rundown of how things go, doing 4 videos takes roughly an hour and a half for us to film. Maybe 2 hours, depending on how much I ramble on, as you all are aware. Sometimes we may do 5 videos, which in that one filming day, which could take potentially up to 3 hours, or potentially up to 2.5 hours. And then you have to also consider the time that we have in editing. So for me, I edit every video in roughly 15 to 20 minutes, but life occurs and I may have to step away or do whatever, so that exacerbates that. So if you consider the upwards at most 20 minutes per video, and we're doing like 4 or 5, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 20, 40, 60, 80. That's 100 minutes. So that's a hair over an hour and a half. And that's just from me not being pulled away from things that are absolutely necessary in life. So it could take up to 2 hours at least. So you're talking potentially 4.5, hell, maybe 5 hours to do this whenever I'm trying to enjoy a weekend. It's not simple. And honestly, there's some other leisurely activities I just haven't had the time to do, like my instruments back there. I haven't played those in almost 3 months. Yeah, and hell, I have a violin in my attic that I got several years ago, and I haven't played it in like a year because I haven't had the time. I've been doing other stuff, and it definitely is beginning to weigh down on me. So, yeah. If we need to, we will consider taking another hiatus so that I can take a break from things and focus on some more important things and other aspects. And that little break could be a month, could be 2 months. We don't know, but we would still be accepting requests and we'd still put them in our log. So that won't be changing. But as far as us actually doing them, it may not happen for a while. But as far as album reviews, we would end up getting to those when we can after a hiatus. Or as far as singles go, we'd probably quit doing those for a while. But again, this is like the worst case scenario, and to which I tell the guys, I can't do this anymore. I've got to step away for a while. And I know that there are a lot of people that do that, but I don't do this for a living. And since this is a hobby, I don't feel like I should have to, but I've noticed over the past year we have been doing more and more and more and more, and it gets to a point where it's no longer feeling it. You can almost see at the end of the tunnel where the fun aspect is beginning to end, and it's almost feeling like a chore. Back on my other channel, whenever I was doing Sunday with Ola's, I told my wife, I got to stop doing this for a while because it's beginning to feel like a chore and it's no longer fun for me anymore. Or it's getting to that point, and I'm doing the same fucking thing over and over, to just different rhythmic aspects to it. Or they were Sunday with Ola riff challenges I used to do, but whenever he still used to do those and present them. So yeah, I'm getting to that same point, and so we're gonna try dispersing some things and trying different tactics to see what can work for everyone on the channel. But there's gonna be some changes. If you don't care, cool, there are other channels to watch. Some of you don't even care for how we do this. Of course, some of you also very much appreciate how we conduct these videos, and that we're very, very honest. We don't show a lot of reaction because we're not reactors, we are reviewers. I made the mistake of calling us reviewers or reactors almost 2 years ago. And there were many people that said we are the most boring people. So I'm like, well, that's because we're honestly doing more of reviewing. So that's what we are. And if you want to see people that are more entertaining or more involved in that aspect of the piece, then go watch them. They exist and they're solid dudes, but that's not us. We're more like symphony and orchestra reviewers in that we just kind of sit focusing on what we're hearing and then make informative and perspective decisions on our thoughts and how this can correlate into a discussion. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and stop there, but guys, thank you for watching this. Like I said, there's going to be a lot more videos that are showing up, and this is just because we're trying to clear our backlog and get to a point where we can kind of shift into doing things a little bit differently so that I'm not so overwhelmed and we can still kind of keep this going, keep this fun, because I do enjoy doing it. It's just, I am going to quit if this begins to feel like a chore. This is supposed to be fun. So, guys, until next time, whether musically, lyrically, or literally, keep rolling heavy. Thanks.